96. Hey, Mr. Holtzman, did you see the video downstairs that advised you of your rights?
Yeah.
Okay. You have any questions about that?
No, not really.
Okay, there's going to be an attorney sitting in there with you right beside you.
All right.
You can answer any questions that you have.
Is my mom there?
Your mother's here.
Okay.
No, that's very good.
I've had no record with the cops at all.
Okay. How long were you with us this time, my guy?
Since Friday. Thank you.
You ready? Hey, won't you come in? No, just go and stand by the attorney's right here. This one. Parents, won't you come right up to the green chair there? Stand. Just stand right there. Remain standing. Won't you both raise your right hand? I'll swear us in. I swear the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God. I do. Please be seated, folks. You'll sit back.
This is the matter of Brian Holtzman. Let the record show that Attorney Guzik is present representing the prosecutor's office. Ms. Clayton is present from the Intake Probation Department. Attorney Monroe is present. The attorney of the court will appoint to represent Ryan for this hearing only. State your name, young man.
Ryan Holtzman.
And how old are you, Ryan?
I'm 17.
All right. Your name, ma'am?
Suzanne Raybolt.
And how are you related to Ryan?
I'm his mother.
All right. Were the two of you advised of your rights this morning?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Do you understand what your rights are?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Any questions about them?
No.
All right. Ryan is charged today with possession of marijuana and failure to stop. Ms. Monroe, do you have any questions for the mother?
Yes, Your Honor, I will call the mother.
Ms. Rainbolt, would you have a seat up here, please?
Watch this step.
Okay.
Ma'am, you are Ryan's mother,
Yes, I am.
and does he live with you?
Yes.
Ma'am, do you want to take him home with you today?
Yes, I do.
Now, this allegedly, the stop happened on January 13th at about 3:03 p.m. Where was he supposed to be at on that time and date?
Well, I really wasn't sure where he was exactly supposed to be at that time. He had already gone to school, and he didn't have to work that day.
And where does he attend school, ma'am?
Ensweiler Academy
And where is that at?
in Gary.
And where does he work?
He works at Westfield Mall at Max's
And how often does he work, ma'am?
a few days a week.
And he attends school regularly?
Yes.
Every day?
Every day.
And from what time to what time?
7:30 to 10:30.
Ma'am, are you having any problems with him at home following your rules and regulations?
No, not really.
Ma'am, if he's released to you today, there may be some restrictions on his release when you assure the court that he follows those.
Oh, yes.
Okay, one of those is that he probably cannot drive. How will he get back and forth to school? Because his license will more than likely be suspended because of the failure of duty.
Well, his sister will be able to take him, or I will.
And he will also possibly have to have a test to determine whether he has a problem with substances. Will you assure the court that he does that if that is so?
Oh,
imposed?
yes.
And ma'am, will you make sure that he gets to all of his future court hearings?
Oh, yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Rainbolt, can you tell the court why it is Ryan attends Ensweiler? Is that not an alternative school?
Yes, it is.
And so why doesn't he go to regular high school?
He was having difficulty getting his credits at the high school, Lake Central High School.
What kind of difficulty?
He wasn't studying and doing his homework and things like that. And so I asked the principal for an alternative. And he said maybe this might be better for Ryan because it's shorter hours and it keeps his attention span more.
Is he in special ed?
No, he's just going to, no, he's not in special ed.
What grade is he in then?
He's a sophomore.
So he's a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
So he was quite a bit behind. He's 17, right?
Right, but he was held back in 7th grade,
Okay.
so,
Because he couldn't keep up the work?
yes.
Was he ever tested for special ed needs?
No,
No one ever suggested that? or-
No, I had suggested it, and they said, no, he's fine.
So you requested the school to test him, and they didn't test him?
Mm-mm.
Tell me about whether or not you think he smokes marijuana or uses substances. Do you think he does?
Yes, I do.
All right. And so what steps, if any, have you taken to curb that, stop that, provide help for him? What have you done?
Well, I've tried to stop him from doing that, from telling him I don't want him hanging around these certain kids. I didn't want him coming home smelling like that. I didn't want it around my house. I don't
So
want
you don't
that.
smoke marijuana?
Of course not.
Okay. And you didn't want him to do it either?
No.
I'm going to read this report to you and let you know what happened that day.
Okay.
All right? It says here that the victim said that she was traveling westbound on 73rd Avenue approaching Hendrick Street when a red vehicle made a left-hand turn in front of her and both vehicles collided. The victim stated that one of the car that Ryan was driving had rear right damage and then fled northbound on Hendrick Street, where it was later observed at 57th Avenue and Grant Street with rear right damage. The officer observed that. The officer then activated the overhead lights and curbed the vehicle at 57th Avenue. I'm assuming he's coming from school at that, well, it would be 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, he would already have been home.
All right, but isn't 57th and 4, isn't that and you live in St. John?
Correct.
Is that anywhere near St. John?
No.
Okay. And he came into the officer came in contact with the driver, later identified as Ryan. And the officer walked up to Ryan and he immediately told the officer that he had just gotten into an accident and was about to drive to the nearest police station. You believe that?
I think he was scared.
Okay. As I continued to talk with him, this is the officer speaking, she noticed that his eyes were red and watery. She also smelled an odor of marijuana coming from the vehicle. There were 4 other passengers in the car. At that time, the officer was assisted by another police officer who was having the other kids exit the car. And as Ryan exited, he said that someone had smoked marijuana in the vehicle. When he was asked where it was, he handed over a small sandwich baggie containing a green leafy substance that he held in his right hand. It was later tested and it was marijuana. There was paraphernalia in his right pocket, a little pipe, but no paraphernalia was found on any of the other children. Do you know the kids that he was with that day?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'll read you those names at a later time, but, so has he ever had treatment for any drugs, or has he been in any kind of program to make him aware of what could happen to him?
No.
I mean, here he is that day, he's driving around,
Right.
he's got marijuana, a baggie of it, smoking it, he's driving. I mean, he could have killed somebody.
No, I know that.
He obviously pulled in front of this young lady and they collided because he did this. I mean, it doesn't say he was speeding, it just sounds like, because he's smoking and probably talking and goofing around with the kids in his car, it could have ended in a disaster. So tell me, well, let me explain to you. I have to decide today whether or not there's probable cause to believe he's committed a crime, okay? And after I make that decision, which seems pretty obvious to me that there is probable cause, I have to then decide whether or not he should be released to your custody. And the 2 things that I have to think about is whether or not he's a danger to himself or to others, or whether or not he'll appear for the next hearing. In other words, does he have runaway behavior and things of
No.
that nature?
No.
So that's not an issue.
No.
So you can assure the court that he'll be here for his next hearing.
Oh, yes.
All right. Tell me how you can assure the court that he won't continue to be a danger to himself or to other people if I release him to you today.
Because he told me he doesn't want to be in this place anymore.
How long has he been here?
4 days.
This is his first arrest, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
He has not been suspended from school,
No.
so he can continue to go to school.
Yes.
And if he is no longer allowed to drive, which today, whether his license is suspended or not, I'm going to say he cannot drive that car, how will he get to school?
It would have to be me or his sister.
Because I think it's very important that he continue in school. I mean, what else would Ryan do?
Right.
He's 17. If he's not in school now, what future is there for him?
Right.
Okay. Do you have any questions of me?
No.
Mrs. Guzik, any questions for the mother?
Yes, Judge. Ma'am, Why did you say Ryan was expelled from Lake Central?
He wasn't expelled from Lake Central. He wasn't getting his credits that he needed to continue on. And I asked the principal if there was another way that he could get his credits. And that's why he sent him to Ensweiler.
So if he told the intake officer he was expelled because he smelled like marijuana, that's not true?
No, he was not expelled from school.
Was marijuana an issue when he was expelled, or when he left school?
Yes, it was right before that had happened. The principal said that he had smelled it on him and called me to school to pick him up. And I came and picked him up, and they said, I said, there has to be something else. He has to get into something else because he wasn't getting his credits at school.
How pervasive do you think his marijuana use is?
I did not know.
So if he says he smokes marijuana every day, you were unaware of that?
I was unaware of that.
You've never smelled it on him?
Oh, I've smelled it on him at times, and I've told him he's got to stop smoking that.
Well, then I'm confused. Are you unaware that he smokes, or did you just tell him to quit smoking?
I told him to stop.
So you knew he smoked?
I didn't know he did it every day.
I have no further questions, Judge.
Anything else, Ms. Monroe?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else you want to tell me, Ms. Rainbolt?
No, Your Honor.
Then we have a seat back there. Do you have other witnesses, Ms. Monroe?
Yes, Your Honor, I'll call Ryan.
Excuse me.
Ryan, do you want to go home today?
Yes, I do.
Okay, have you learned your lesson by being here 4 days?
Yes, I have.
Do you understand that if you're released, you have to attend school every day?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Do you understand that you will not be allowed to drive?
Yes, I do.
And you cannot associate with other persons, do you understand that?
Yes.
And you will follow all the rules that the court imposes on you,
Yes, I will.
which will probably be that you will have to be tested for substances and any kind of treatment that is recommended. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
And will you make it to all of your future court hearings?
Yes, I will.
I have no further questions for Ryan here.
Mrs. Guzik, any questions?
How are you going to be able to ensure this court you're not going to use marijuana?
Because actually I was going to ask the court if they would give me drug tests so I wouldn't do marijuana anymore. I really don't want to. I got to concentrate on my life. I'm
You're going to be
17.
able to stop cold turkey?
What's that mean?
You're going to just be able to stop as of today?
Yeah, marijuana isn't addicting. Has nothing in it that's addicting to you.
Well, I think the scientific evidence is not that, young man, but whose car were you driving?
I was driving, I think it's my mom's technically.
What kind of car was this?
It's a red Blazer,
What's the year?
97.
Did it have insurance?
Had liability.
So the police officer was wrong when it said there was no insurance?
Yeah, I handed him my card too.
He said it was expired.
I didn't know that. It's not expired, is it? It can't be. I just got my license and my car.
Who's going to be able to pay this young woman for the $7,000 she had damage to her vehicle in this?
I'm gonna work for it, and I'm gonna ask my grandparents if I can work for them to make some money.
I have no further questions, Judge.
Ryan, what else would you like to tell me today? Why should I release you today to your mother?
Because I have learned my lesson, and I really want to change. I do. I just want to get good grades, want to keep my job. I don't want to be a 18-year-old sophomore.
You use your money to buy marijuana that you make at work?
Huh?
You spend your money that you make at
It
work on
wasn't even
marijuana?
my marijuana in the car.
It was not your marijuana?
No, they tossed it on my lap when we got pulled over. The cops wouldn't let me say anything to them. When I tried to tell my story, when they asked me a question, they just said they were going to whoop my ass. That's all they would say to me.
You had just been in an accident prior to that, right?
Yes.
These boys that were in the car with you go to school with you?
They used to. They go to Lake Central. One of them went to Ensweiler with me, but now he goes back to Lake Central.
It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Were they out of school already?
Yeah. We were going to one of their barber shops in Gary.
To do what?
They were getting a haircut. I was taking them to get their haircut. And I was not smoking during that time. I smoked prior to that, like an hour and a half or 2 hours before that.
So you weren't high? is what
I
you're
was
saying.
not high. My eyes are always bloodshot, as you can probably see right now.
But you have to see the danger
I know.
of riding around, smoking marijuana,
Yeah,
and just hanging out,
I do see.
right? I mean,
yeah.
you see that just something so simple as sideswiping or hitting somebody could have ended in really a tragic event. You see that.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to stop smoking marijuana?
I'm just gonna quit. I am on a basketball team now. I need to quit.
Where are you on the basketball team?
For Biddy Ball, it's like Lake Central Corporation type of deal.
And you're not gonna object to me ordering that you, undergo a drug test?
No, that's fine with me.
Anything else, Ms. Monroe?
No, Your Honor.
You may have a seat back there. All right, today the court is going to find probable cause to believe that Ryan has committed a delinquent act. I'll refer the matter to the prosecutor's office to file a petition. The next decision I have to make is whether or not I should release him to your custody. I will, if he is released today, he absolutely cannot drive a car. I don't care if you're with him or you're not, he needs to not be driving his car. The court will also order that he undergo a substance abuse evaluation and follow through with any treatment that's recommended. I will also order that he have unannounced random drug screens to make sure that he is in fact not smoking marijuana. And I will order that he continue to attend school every day with no unexcused absence. And lastly, if I release him, the court will order that he not have any contact with the boys that were in the car with him on this date until further order of this court. Do you understand that, Ryan?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Rainbolt, do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Do you work outside the home, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, so when Ryan is at home, is there somebody there to supervise him?
Most of the time, his older sister,
And how old is she?
23.
Today, the court will order that Ryan be released to the custody of his mother on the conditions that I just stated, and you will appear for the next hearing, and at that time, you can admit or deny the allegations in the petition, and it'll either be set for trial or sentencing. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any questions?
One question.
Go ahead.
How long does it take for marijuana to get out of your system before I take my first drug test?
I'm not certain of that. It depends on how much you've smoked and the frequency of it. Generally, it's about 30 days. But, you know, with that history, we'll understand that when we get your drug test, we'll understand and know. It tells you, too, you can ask for a quantitative report, and it'll tell you how much is in the system.
Okay.
And we can tell from that.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
All right. Any questions, ma'am?
No.
All right, this hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Can I give my mom a hug?
Sure. Dexter Johnson. Okay, he's going to show you out now. You come with me. Okay. Dexter Johnson.
Sorry, it's kind of...
Yeah, I understand. You feeling a little bit better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Glad I got released. I know that there's more coming up, and I hope everything goes well, like everything did today. Knowing that I didn't have to come back here felt good. I'd rather sit at home and take drug tests than be at this place.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Now, what number is